First, anybody that consistently pushes up against your boundaries or crosses your boundaries is not an emotionally healthy person. Once you've clearly articulated them, emotionally healthy people don't push up against your boundaries, and they certainly don't make you feel bad for maintaining your wants and your needs. Second, having understood that this person is not emotionally healthy, also recognize that there are probably manipulative tactics going on as well. Typically, they'll try to entice you into a jade cycle. What's a jade cycle? Glad you asked. A jade cycle is when somebody does whatever they can to push you to justify, argue, defend, or explain. You already know this person has a pattern or a habit of trying to pull you in directions that you don't want to go. So one of the easiest buttons for them to push in order to breach your boundary is to get you to jade. To combat the jade cycle, so you're not justifying, arguing, defending, or explaining, try this. I'm not interested in having this conversation this way. I gave you my answer, and that's the best I can give you at this time. And then move along from that person as quickly as you can. Here's the thing to remember. If your boundaries are met with battles, you're dealing with an enemy. And I don't care if they have on a friendly uniform.
Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to The Inner Mirror, where we talk all things transformation, self-reflection, and becoming the best version of yourself. Today, we're diving into something that so many of us struggle with, and that's enforcing our boundaries. You know that moment when someone crossed the line, a line that you clearly set, and you're left wondering if you should call it out, if you should let it slide, if you should write a 3-page text that you will later regret. Oh my God. Boundaries aren't just a cute Instagram quote. They're the way you protect your peace, your energy, and your self-worth. If you've ever felt guilty for saying no or found yourself over-explaining why you don't want to do something, this video is for you. So grab your tea, grab your wine, grab your water. Whatever it is you're trying to sip on, girl, get comfortable, and let's talk about it. Let's talk about how to stand firm, respond with grace, and stop shrinking to make other people feel comfortable. So let's get into it.
You're finally at a place where you're able to communicate your needs and your boundaries. You're putting yourself back together, and you finally discovered what it is you need from relationships with friends and family for you to feel safe. So you start communicating your boundaries to family only to be met with resistance. People close to you start saying things like, "Oh, why can't you just accept me for who I am?" When you start calling people out on their toxic ways or habits that are negatively impacting you. However, accepting them for who they are is ignoring a big part of who you are. Yes, I'm willing to accept you for who you are, but not at the expense of ignoring my needs. Setting boundaries with family is hard because we don't ask to be born into the situations we're born into. I think the hardest part about pointing out things in your family that you know in your heart need to change are that the person who calls people out is the one who's always the problem. I have always been my family villain because I'm always the one who calls people out on the toxic things they do or just ways of being that don't need to be. The sad part about being the family villain is that the people who don't want to take accountability always seem to have an opinion about the decisions you make for your healing, when the opinion they should have should be around why they're hurting people and perpetuating generational curses. These family members are more concerned with trying to control other people's opinion about you instead of just looking in the mirror and taking accountability. So how do you navigate relationships with family who refuse to accept the healed version of you? So when you go through a period of healing and you begin to communicate your boundaries that are important to you with people you love, if you're met with resistance or complete disregard for what you need to feel safe, the only thing you can do is limit their access to you. If you don't limit their access to you, what you end up becoming is a safeguard for all the things they haven't healed about themselves. You give them permission to disrespect you, to belittle you, to disregard your boundaries. Limiting access can look like limiting your communication with them. It can look like going no contact completely if that relationship has a negative impact on your mental health. You're not responsible for other people's healing. You can't control how people treat you. The only thing you can control is how you respond. And you can also control who you allow into your life and who you do not. Yes, you only get one family, but you also only get one life.
So when your boundaries are crossed, it's literally a violation of your rights. For a lot of people,
They grew up not being able to set boundaries, which really restricts your self-expression and ultimately your ability to see that you are worthy of being cared for. Yes, our parents gave us some of these basic needs: food, clothes, shelter. A lot of them really neglected some things, and that's physical and emotional safety. These are literally the most connected to each other. So when your boundaries are crossed, you first have to acknowledge how effed up it feels, that person feels that you are not worthy of being cared for. Once you have that awareness, it sucks. You have to feel that. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to regulate your emotions. Being able to control your emotions is the piece to setting boundaries that a lot of people have a hard time with. Remember, it is not your responsibility to make other people feel comfortable with the limits that you set. I'm working on making these videos shorter, so like for part 2.
If you've said it, especially more than once, then that means that somebody just does not respect your boundary. It could go as far as they don't respect you as a person, but this means that they are overstepping your boundaries. Now, with boundaries are for you. They are not to get somebody else to do something. They're supposed to protect you. So it's more so you're changing the way you interact with the person versus expecting them to change their behavior. Now, it is good if they do change it, if they do care about you, they love you, they respect you. But in the cases if they don't, or they don't care enough to work on their behavior or consider your feelings, if there's not long-term change or there's not consistent change in their actions or their dialogue, whatever it is that you're setting a boundary about or what's triggering you, then you have to change the way you interact with that person. You have to then step away from the dynamic. You have to cease contact, or you have to, do something that is basically a consequence for a boundary violation. But if they're not willing to change their behaviors, then that says they probably aren't going to change. It could be a character flaw. It could be something that is just them and they don't want to. So you have to change your way you interact with them, likely cutting them off or cutting back interacting with that person.
You know one of your boundaries has been crossed when you feel rising up within you, in your mind, the word no. In other words, no, you can't talk to me like that. Or no, you're coming too close inside my personal space. Or no, we can't talk about that because that's private. And the technique that you use to address that is metacommunication. And so metacommunication is communicating about how you communicate. It's an assertive conversation where you sit down and work out the rules of your interaction. That's where you establish your boundaries, and that's where you manage and maintain your boundaries. I hope this helps, and follow for more.
You will firmly say to them, the way you just spoke to me is trespassing. Full stop. Then you do what your boundary said you would do. You will fulfill it. You will walk away. You will leave the conversation. You will add distance. No exception. It's this idea that no, there's no part of this that's up for discussion. No, I don't have to make this make sense to you. My boundaries were not put up to make you feel comfortable. They're put up for me. And the more you understand this and the more you get used to that idea, the more assertive you'll be. So try that. Follow me.
All right. As we wrap this video up, remember, enforcing your boundaries doesn't make you mean, selfish, or difficult. It makes you self-respecting. The people who truly care about you will adjust. The ones who only benefited from you not having any limits, they will fall off. And that's okay. It's okay. Here's a few things I want you to take away from this video before you go. You don't owe long explanations. No is a complete sentence. That's it. That's all. Practice makes progress. The first time you enforce a boundary, it might feel awkward, but over time, it becomes second nature. Trust me. Stay calm, but firm. You don't have to match someone's disrespect with disrespect. Protect your peace without abandoning your standards. And if you found value in this conversation, in this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs a reminder that their boundaries are valid. And as always, thank you so much for spending time with me today. You deserve relationships and spaces where you feel safe, respected, and free to be yourself. I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, keep reflecting, keep growing, and keep enforcing those boundaries, girl. Take care, beautiful souls. Bye.